Hey guys, Kanoka Rob here. We're in the end today, taking a bit of a break from New in Town to show you guys what I've been working on. This is a new pack called Dragonkind Evolved. It adds on to the vanilla Ender Dragon fight and actually incentivizes respawning the Ender Dragon by providing unique custom loot, which I'm excited to show you. This is going to be kind of a dev diary video as I talk about the pack. I'm going to show you an example of one of the dragon fights and some of the custom loot. But I do want to make you aware that this pack is currently available for open beta simply by joining my Discord. Link is in the description below. Pretty soon, based on your guys' feedback, both for balance, for bug reporting, things like that, be excited to get this posted to Modrinth and Planet Minecraft. But for now, you can play for free by joining my Discord. There's no additional, you don't have to have a role or anything like that. Just hop in, find the Dragonkind Evolved channels, and the download will be right in there. For now, oh, why did the sky change? I'm going to go ahead and respawn a dragon here, fight it, and explain to you guys what is happening in voiceover. So you will hear from me shortly. So respawning the dragon works the same as normal. We'll just speed through the end crystals regenerating and the dragon getting spawned. You may notice I'm geared up pretty well. Full netherite and elytra, pretty reasonable enchantments. This is probably pretty reasonable for this being the 6th or 7th respawn in terms of difficulty for this particular world. As the dragon spawns, we see that its name is Powerful Warped Dragon, which denotes its difficulty tier as well as dragon type. The first Ender Dragon you fight normally will not have a dragon type, but whenever you respawn one, it will. We'll get into what the Warped Dragon means as the fight progresses here, but you see initially though, like normal, we want to focus on these end crystals. Because this is a higher difficulty dragon fight, all the end crystals are spawning with a custom ability already attached to them. Normally this won't happen or I should say, for the first dragon fight, this won't happen until they regenerate. As you can see, as we start taking crystals out, they'll regenerate a few seconds later. And the number of times that they can regenerate will vary based on, again, the difficulty, the number of dragons you've killed in this world already. And that'll also dictate which abilities are able to spawn, how many abilities the crystals will have. So focusing first on the ones that are less protected, of course, we see that there's some custom cages protecting some of them, and a few of them have a couple of rings around them, which are actually making them immune to projectiles. So right now focusing on the ones that don't have that. The purple particle ones are the ones I was focusing on first, and you can see I'm trying to go for this one here potentially. No, we're going elsewhere. Yeah, I'm sticking in the air right now because there is a end crystal type that shoots lasers at you, but only if you are touching the ground. So staking in the air, while more challenging, in this particular run I am accepting that risk to avoid, and there's that laser right there. So one just shot at me, it hit me. So I'm trying to go for that now, but you see, not catching myself well. Of course, the Endermen are fighting me, but easy to avoid them in the air. Another good reason to stay in the sky with these elytra. But again, accepting some difficulty. The lasers can't hit me, but the witch crystals, the ones that have purple particles like that one in the cage, those are randomly giving me either neutral or negative effects periodically. And of course, we can still, run into the dragon, things like that. And while we're in the air, we can't do a whole lot else besides try and hit crystals. That affects our, accuracy, things like that. So right now, just focusing on the crystals. Again, here's one of those force field crystals that's immune to projectiles. So we're going to have to get close and take it out directly. But sometimes that can get paired with something like a fire ability, which will burn you if you get close. So you'll have to be really considerate about how you approach each particular end crystal. Again, for early dragon fights, in the first one in particular, the crystals won't spawn with abilities initially, so that gives you a little bit of control. But as you get to these more difficult levels, things can get pretty crazy pretty immediately as the fight begins. And so staying mobile and prioritizing which crystals you want to take out, both by accessibility, by what's not protected, and by their danger, the abilities that they have and how they're affecting you. Getting slowness from this witch crystal here, I figure it's time to take that out. See if we can get down and in a safe position to break it. And there we go. And let's see, at this point I think there's only a couple of crystals left. Most of them are in cages. We're going to get these ones that aren't, and then go for the caged ones. Those cages, of course, if you couldn't tell already, of course, end crystals can spawn normally with crystals, or with cages, I should say. The simple cages that can spawn on exactly 2 of the towers by default. But as new end crystals respawn, they'll get these more protected cages here. And if you couldn't tell already, they are, by looking at them, they're much more secure than the basic cages, not just in the types of blocks that there are, but normally if you're familiar with fighting the Ender Dragon, you know that the basic cages that they can spawn with, you can shoot an arrow up through the corner from the ground very easily, so they do very little protect them. You can hit them if you have a good enough accuracy. But these cages, you cannot do that. They have obsidian on the bottom, they're fully caged in. We're experiencing a little bit of lag here from the crystal, evidently, or from the laser crystal. Evidently, that's something that I need to fix. So this is a great opportunity to talk about that and demonstrate this is definitely still in beta. So again, reminder: join the Discord server, join the New in Town Discord, and go down to the channels for the Dragonkind Evolved to help me beta test and find those bugs. But yeah, so normally, yeah, there's that lag again. You would be able to shoot through the cages that the vanilla cages that the crystals spawn with, but these ones you can't. You have to get close and start to break through them, and again, that can create some difficulty if you're I was shooting a lot of these with bows, but they can have projectile protection in addition to being in the cage, and they could be fiery as well. They could damage you if you get close. So all things that you have to consider. Ooh, and you see we're struggling a little bit here. Gotta run away from these Endermen. So all things you have to consider. You have to approach each crystal kind of individually. And at higher difficulties as well, you saw even during this fight, some of these crystals don't have abilities as they're regenerating, or they only have 1. But during later fights, they're always guaranteed to have 1, and often can have up to 3. So, more difficult fights do become more difficult, even, dragon notwithstanding. At this point, as we're getting close to taking out the last of the crystals, we should start seeing, or at least paying attention to the dragon. You may have been noticing throughout the fight, but if you hadn't, we should be seeing more of it here now. The warped dragon's abilities are that it is much slower actually than other dragons. There's one dragon that is faster than all the others, and this one, it flies much slower, so generally easier to hit with a bow. But, and hopefully we see it here soon, it will also teleport around the arena randomly and periodically. And so, that can kind of mitigate your ability to shoot it with a bow, potentially. However, to help out with that even more, again, the Warp Dragon, this is a pretty easy one. This only appears at the lower difficulties, like this powerful level that we're at. Oh, there goes that teleport. It's a pretty easy one, so in addition to moving slower, although it does have the teleport, it also perches more often to kind of circumvent the difficulty of being able to hit it if it's teleporting around a lot. So with all of that in mind, in addition, it also has any of its breath clouds, either that it breathes or shot by fireballs. Can't get close there. They will deal poison, or give poison and slowness instead of the normal instant damage. I'm not going to demonstrate that here because I'm able to avoid it, but the other thing that's important to note, and again another bug here that I'll point out because I'll be sure to fix it, is the breath clouds are intended to never dissipate. They will stay until the fight ends. Obviously you see here the ground is clear, that breath cloud did dissipate, but that'll be fixed. This is going to leave kind of those permanent hazards throughout the battlefield as it's shooting fireballs, breathing breath clouds, especially around the fountain. It's going to make it difficult to get in and hit it with that sword. Now, of course, again, it's perching more often, it's flying more slowly, so we're able to try and get a few shots in here, but then we're going to move in with our sword and try and take it out. At this point, I've pretty much talked about everything with the Ender Dragon. There's no more excitement with the end crystals, so we're going to go ahead and speed through the rest of this. While it isn't necessarily boring, there's really not much more to talk about in terms of the development of the data pack, in terms of dev diary stuff. So I will be talking to you back in the present or the past very shortly. All right, let's see what loot we got. Get this experience first. And let's see, so we get a fair number of items, some diamonds, shulker shells, a couple of ender pearls, phantom membranes. Those of course vary depending on the type of dragon, so that was for it being a warped dragon. But also every time you'll also get exactly one, or up to one I should say, dragon item, custom dragon item. In this case, looks like we got the dragon hide cowl. If we go ahead and equip that, that is going to have, as you can tell here, slightly more, possibly clear my chat. So you see I have about 6 bars of iron right now. If we equip that helmet, that is already better than the netherite helmet. That puts us up to 6.5. So it adds a whole additional point of armor. And of course, obviously as well, 2 additional hearts. And that comes from the dragon hearted custom enchantment that's on there. In addition, it also has fire protection 4 and dragon yield 1. So for the armors, they all have dragon yield 1, and what that means is if you have the full set equipped, whenever the dragon, it's kind of like thorns, but specifically just for ender dragons. All of the custom items, hit that here. In fact, I'm going to go in creative mode. All of the custom items are more effective against or are intended to be more useful when fighting dragons. The whole point being to, again, incentivize respawning the dragon. So that battle, I was actually fairly under-equipped from what you would normally expect. That was considered, about a 6th or 7th dragon at that point, 6th or 7th respawn. And so I reasonably should have, or would have had, potentially up to 6 of these custom items to help me out. So in addition, there's 4 pieces of armor, there's a custom elytra, and then there's a sword, a pickaxe, a crossbow, as well as a shield, and a special like magic scepter, which is really, really useful, especially for more difficult dragons later on. The warp dragon is one of the easier ones, and that can stop appearing after a certain point, and you'll start to only see the more powerful dragons at the later difficulties. There are currently, as I said, those 10 custom items. If you already have one, you're less likely to get it again, which is why I said that up to. So at first, you're always going to get a custom item, but if you are fully maxed out, you have all the custom items, then you're not going to get any more until they start to break. And that means, or that brings me into the curse of deterioration. So all of those custom items have a curse of deterioration, which means not only do they have durability, but they also cannot have the mending enchantment applied to them. You can put unbreaking on them, you can repair them, but you cannot put mending on them. They will eventually break. So if you keep them and maintain them as you're fighting more and more dragons, after you kill the 20th dragon, after you respawn as many as you're allowed to, that's it. You can't get any more. Additionally, there are 4 ranges of difficulty. As I said, some of the dragon types will only appear at later difficulties. There are 7 dragon types, as well as 7 end crystal abilities. Again, some of those which only appear at later difficulties, or will only start appearing at later difficulties. So that just adds more challenge and more to work towards as you make your way through all 20 dragons. We have even some advancements as well, so you can keep track. On this world, I already killed an elder dragon as well, so we see we already have that enchantment obtained. So there's 7 types of dragons, an achievement for killing, an advancement for killing your first of each one, as well as an advancement for killing each of the difficulties of dragons. So fledgling, powerful, which we just did, cruel, which I did earlier in a test. That's the first level that elder dragons can start appearing at, and the immortal dragon. So again, just a reminder, that is available in the Discord for you to play and test out, help me out as I prepare to put this up for public download on Modern and Planet Minecraft. Thanks for watching.